Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Appreciate you starting your work week off with us. Hope it has been a good Monday for you. Stressful weekend in Baton Rouge for Jay Johnson and his coaching staff as they go through the Major League Baseball draft, but an exciting weekend nonetheless. Some really, really big success stories from some now former Tigers and a signing class that is going to send a lot of really good talent to LSU. One of that is Cooper Sides, right-handed pitcher from the state of California. He is an LSU signee that will be a Tiger here coming up later on this summer, and he's good enough to give us a little bit of time here on this Monday. Cooper, thanks so much for the time. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Hunt?
Doing quite well. What was this process and weekend like for you? I know you were a very hot prospect, a guy that had a lot of draftable grades, and I'm confident had to kind of go through this process with your family and advisors and all the while talking to Coach Johnson. So what have the last couple of weeks and this weekend been like?
Yeah, for me, I mean, obviously professional baseball has been a dream of mine ever since I wanted to become a baseball player. And for me, it was just about the best opportunity I could put myself in front of. And for me, I just felt like if a team wasn't willing to put themselves in a little bit of a risk and pay me a lot more money than they probably wanted to, that then that would mean that I was going to go to college. And for me, I had no problem with that. That's been my plan since day one. Ever since 2 years ago when I committed, I told Jay Johnson that I was fully committed no matter what. Obviously, him being a great guy and a great coach told me if a good opportunity arises itself with pro baseball, he has no problem, no hard feelings with me going. But the right plan, God's plan, landed in my lap, and I'm going to Tigers.
So obviously we're not going to talk numbers here, but I'm just curious how that process works over the weekend. Are you taking phone calls? Do you let your advisor handle all of that? Do you get that information? Like, what's the communication like over the weekend? Yeah,
so basically those guys that are making the decisions talk to my advisor and ask them like, hey, how much can we and there's talks like weeks before, so This wasn't like just like a today thing, but it was talks like, hey, how much can we buy him for? How much is he worth? My advisor, after talking to me for a while, gives them an answer, and they kind of go back and forth, like saying, like, "Oh, hey, well, is he willing to drop to this?" And my agent either says yes or no. And for me, I was hard stuck on my number because I feel like, again, if a team really wanted me, they'd be willing to put that risk out for themselves.
What'd you do this weekend? Did you just hang at home and wait? Did you go be active to get your mind off it? Like, how'd you pass the time this weekend?
Yeah, we were supposed to go to the lake. We have a boat, and we were supposed to go to the lake with family and just hang out this is the day. But we went for our test drive during the middle of the week, and our boat broke down. So we ended up just staying at home. We ended up staying at home and just chilling on the couch with the family and friends.
Cool. Cooper Sides is our guest, part of this LSU class of 2026, big right-handed pitcher from out in California. You mentioned being recruited by Jay Johnson. He's pretty good at that. What's it like being recruited by Jay Johnson, and why did you, a California native, pick LSU?
Yeah, and so if anyone knows anything about Jay Johnson, he's actually from my area. Like his hometown is 40 minutes from my hometown, so very close, very local. And for me, it just felt like, just like I said, like because he is so close, it just felt like he was straight home. You know what I mean? Like got there, he was him and Coach JJ were very open arms, very very opening to us and our family, and it was just a really cool experience for me to feel that homey feeling so far away from home.
Now, I've noticed that you transferred for your senior year to Orange Lutheran. I know a player who played at Orange Lutheran. He just went 5th in the draft, Derek Curiel, who obviously starred here, won a national championship, and is now a member of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. Do you know Derek? Did you have to kind of follow in his footsteps in that program? It's obviously a great program there, but do you have a relationship with him?
I've talked to him a couple times. I met him when I came down here the first time for Orange Lutheran, and he was here playing. And then I met him again when we had our recruits visit in the fall. I got to talk to him and see him play in the fall. So I didn't have like a crazy good relationship with him just because I wasn't from Southern California like everyone else was. Right. But I did make a good one with him when I was in LSU, and I met his parents, and they were amazing people.
Well, let's talk about Baton Rouge. You made the trip down here. What was your experience like in Baton Rouge? I see right now, for those that are listening on radio, Cooper's FaceTiming in with us, and he's got the LSU gear on right now. So what was your trip down to Baton Rouge like? How many times have you been?
I've been 3 times now. Okay. I went when I first visited 2 years ago. I went again in the spring just to watch a game, and it was amazing. It was electric. And then I went again this fall during the big recruits visit, and that was amazing. That was like I got to see all times of the year. I went and went like late November, then I went early August, and then obviously I went in spring the last year. So, I mean, I love the environment. For me, I always love playing in a hotter area, so it would be nice to be in the hot, humid area. I'm from Cali, so we don't get much humid, but I definitely prefer it.
Well, you'll get plenty of it, I promise you. There'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
plenty of that down here. Did you go to a football game when you came down?
Yeah, I did.
Who'd LSU play?
So the first time I went down here, they played Texas A&M, and then the last game I came down here, I think they played Vanderbilt.
So it was Texas A&M a couple of times ago. It was not the A&M game this past fall, was it?
No. That was the one. That was the one from a while ago.
Okay, well, if it was last fall, that was the worst game I've ever been to in my entire life in Tiger Stadium. So I'm thrilled you were not there. You may have decommitted on the spot at that point. So I'm glad you didn't. Tell us about your game, about you as a pitcher. I can read the stuff on the internet. It says fastball 95, 96 from a 6'6" frame. But what do you think of yourself as a pitcher?
Yeah, I think I just have elite control with all my stuff. I have a solid 4-pitch mix. I probably have a strong 3-pitch mix, but I think the 4th pitch is starting to develop really well right now. And I think that's just part of my game. I have a lot of pitches, and my ability to control them where I want them, in the zone, out of the zone, has just been something that's been helped me be very dominant.
Let's talk about your relationship with the guys in this class, because as we talked about on Friday on this show, like there are just so many of y'all that had decisions to make over the weekend, and I would imagine there's a portion of you that kind of goes through that together. Is there like a group text, or is there 2 or 3 guys that you're closer with, and what was that communication like over the weekend?
Yeah, there's a couple guys. Like, unfortunately, one of my best buddies in the group, Jensen Heckerstorm, was picked, obviously, and he decided to sign. And I was happy for him because we both told each other, like, hey, like, we're going for a high number, and if we get it, then we'll take it. But he was lucky enough to get that opportunity. I'm super happy for him. But we have a group chat where we all talk and kind of just speak our mind. Like, we're all honest with each other. Like, nothing leaves the group chat. But it was definitely like everyone had big decisions to make, but they were all pretty strong, and like we were all gonna be happy for each other at the end of the day.
I'm curious if you've had a chance in this showcase circuit to play against some of these guys, and maybe your impressions of 1 or 2 of some of the guys that you are most impressed by.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I played with and against 90% of these guys.
Okay.
Some big standouts for me was obviously Dominic Santarelli. Faced him in the area codes this last summer, and watched him put a ball backside like 110 exit velocity off one of my teammates, and it was just like effortless too. Lucas Naraki, I played with him at USA Trials, and he was one of the guys that the stuff kind of just jumped out at you. I've never heard of him, never seen him before, and then everything kind of just jumped out of his hand. It was very electric. So those 2 guys have been pretty like dominant for me.
Cooper Sides is our guest, part of this LSU signing class. He'll be a Tiger starting in the fall. What's your plan this summer as far as baseball, and then what's your plan for arriving down in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, so like you mentioned earlier, I had a unique situation where I moved away from home. My family didn't move with me, so I'm spending the entire summer home with family. Okay. My sister just got married. She had her baby. It's a year old, and then now she found out she's pregnant again. So I'm getting to spend a lot of time with family that I missed out the last 9 months. But after that, on August 15th, I think the day is, I'm going to head to Baton Rouge and kind of get things started. I've already started my ramp-up program with Nate Eske, and I'm already talking to Chris Martin about the weightlifting program where he wants me to be when I get to campus.
Well, it's exciting stuff. Congratulations on your signing with LSU. Enjoy the summer with family. Safe travels down to Baton Rouge, and we'll catch up when you get here.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Hunt. Thank you, guys. That's
Cooper Sides, who's part of this LSU signing class, big 6'6" right-hander from California, who obviously had a decision to make. And that's a guy that, if you were listening to me on the air last week, I said he's in a group of about 5 guys, and if LSU could get like 2 of them, that would be really good. And I didn't know if the odds of Sides making it to campus were very good at all, but he did make it to campus. Colby Stringer made it to campus. Braden Weiser made it to campus. It's a very, very, very talented group, and you just heard him. He faced Dominic Santarelli, who didn't appear to have too much trouble with smoked the ball backside 110 miles an hour. But Cooper's got a lot of talent, and if he likes heat and humidity, he's going to love it here, especially when it gets to crunch time in baseball season, when it really heats up in June. But he's part of a loaded class, and appreciate Cooper for jumping aboard and give us a little time here on this Monday. We're chugging along to crank up the week. Appreciate y'all being with us. Guarantee Health Solutions brings you our Monday shows each and every week. We will step aside, come back. We'll shift over to the Saints for a little bit. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, swingeasygcbr.com. That's swingeasygcbr.com. If you're not like Cooper Sides and you don't like the heat and humidity, but you do want to play golf, climate control inside on the swing simulator at Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. You get a private bay, comfortable seating. They got the turtle box there. You can crank some tunes. They got a television. And you can play golf on the simulator. You can work on your game on the driving range setting. You chip, you putt, you score. It's all there at Swing Easy Golf Club. And oh, by the way, they got cold beers and seltzers in there as well as wine. So if you want to get a drink while you're there, you can do it. It's open 7 days a week. You can go at lunch. You can go after work. You can go in the evening hours. Right there on Segan at Perkins. Swing Easy Golf Club. They're online at swingeasygcbr.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. This is something that we've been telling you the last couple of weeks. It's something that David really emphasized to me when we sat down and had our last meeting. He said, look, what he's seeing is that people neglect imperfections in a shower, in a bathtub. It's a little crack, whatever, I'll deal with it later. Well, then you don't deal with it, and there's running water. And water gets where it's not supposed to be. And water's got to go somewhere. And if you just let that crack sit there, how much damage is being done that you can't see? To the wall, to floors, to ceilings, dry rot, mold, wet rot. Like, it can be a significant problem that you're not even aware of because you didn't take the time to fix what you believe to be a small problem. If you've got a crack in your shower, if you've got a crack in your tub, call One Bath and Closets and let David come out and look at it. He will survey the situation. He'll tell you what's the best course of action. But just sitting there and saying, it's just a small crack, water can be a big, big problem. And it can get really expensive really quickly. So call One Bath and Closets, have David come out, and he may be able to stop the problem and fix it quickly. That's the goal. You get that free consultation with David at onebathandclosets.com. Financing options are available, 0% up to 18 months, same as cash. It's One Bath and Closets. Find them online at onebathandclosets.com. All right, last week we were going through the ESPN.com top 10 players at each position in the NFL. And Jordan and I were kicking it back and forth, and we said, look, the only guy that the Saints may have on this is Eric McCoy. Like, he's their only hope. And today, the top 10 interior offensive linemen came out, which includes guards and centers. And McCoy didn't make it. He was way down the list of like honorable mention beyond like second. So he was like 20th on the list. So the Saints aren't going to have anybody on it. But it got me thinking about Eric McCoy's importance to the team. And I pulled up the Pro Football Focus grades. And again, I understand that some people don't like Pro Football Focus. But the point that I'm making with this statistic and these grades will sink in whether you think it's the gospel or it's stupid. When I pulled up the blocking metrics for the Saints last year, Eric McCoy is at the top of the list. Now, he only played 7 games, but he's number 1 on the list. His overall blocking grade was a 67.9, so about 68. His run blocking was 62.2, which is mediocre. It's not bad, but it's not great. And his pass blocking is 84.1, which is elite. It's the best on the team by a sizable margin. Like, the next offensive lineman in pass protection that you would get to is Cesar Ruiz, who's 11 points lower. Eric McCoy is the highest graded blocker on the Saints roster from last year. Now, who is the Saints' second team center? Well, last year was Luke Fortner. This year is probably Torricelli Simpkins. Do you want to know what Torricelli Simpkins' blocking grades were on Pro Football Focus last year? Again, McCoy, 67.9 overall, 62.2 against the run, 84.1 in the pass blocking. Good grades. Torricelli Simpkins' overall blocking grade was a 37.4. His run blocking grade was a 59.6. His pass blocking grade, and this is not like he had 3 snaps. No, again, in pass protection, he had a sizable He had 108 snaps. His pass blocking grade was a 9.6. 9.6.
Hold up.
9.6. Like the Ferris Bueller line. Nine times.
So we're talking about a professional NFL player.
He gave up 10 hurries and 12 pressures in 108 snaps. So 1 out of every 10, he's got the quarterback out the drive.
Holy smokes. And this guy's employed by us still?
And he's at guard on the interior. Like, it's not like tackle where you don't have any help. Like, you got help at guard. Yeah. You just can't stay in front of anybody. So the point I'm making here is not to suggest that Torricelli Simpkins is the worst player in NFL history. He was a rookie. I'm sure he will improve. But the point is that Eric McCoy has got to play 14 games this year. I'll cut him a slack of 3. He's got to play 14 games.
We will want that. If you want a successful season, you'll want that.
It's just has to happen. The last 2 years, he hasn't been able to do it. And I get it. It's a position prone to injuries. The 2 teams we cover here every single day are the Saints and LSU. And Eric McCoy and Braylon Moore were hurt all year last year. Moore went out there and gutted it out for LSU and was hurt, and McCoy couldn't play. And it just matters. When you don't have your dude in the middle, especially when he's one of the top, I'll be conservative, when he's one of the top 10 centers in the NFL, he's probably one of the top 5 centers in the NFL when he's healthy. But if he's one of the top 10 centers in the NFL, you need that guy out there. It just makes a difference. You're trying to get a new quarterback to get his legs under him. You need to get everybody on the same page. You need to make sure that your protections are set up. You need to be in rhythm, and you just need your center out there. And I don't care if ESPN.com ranks him outside the top 10 interior offensive linemen in the NFL. Like, what do I care? I just know that when I go to the Pro Football Focus grades, bam, he's at the top, and Torricelli Simpkins is at the bottom. And I know that when you go to his last healthy seasons, he's a Pro Bowl caliber player that you drafted, you identified, you brought in, you got into the lineup, and he blossomed into one of the better players at his position in the NFL. This team, this roster at that position, you've got to have your best dudes available. And you're just not going to be able to create the necessary depth on the offensive line to offset these ridiculous injury rashes. Again, you have to find a way to keep him healthy. And maybe you just have to be lucky. Maybe I shouldn't say you have to find a way. You have to find a way to drive in a run with less than 2 outs. You have to find a way to run the football. You can't find a way to keep somebody healthy. You just need that to happen. And they need some good football fortune. They need Eric McCoy to stay healthy. They just need it so badly because what they've got behind him is just not going to be. They cannot go to war again. That's a very poor use of that term. I realize people hate that now. It's just an old cliche. They cannot go into games with Torricelli Simpkins and Dylan Radins out there more often. That's just not. It's next man up. I get the football cliche. I get the macho football guys want to say that. The next man up's not as good. So they need him healthy. It's got to happen.
It does. And when I really think about his impact being missed, people forget the Saints were winning that Eagles game back in 2024 when Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator with the Eagles. And
that's when they were playing good football.
They were playing good football. You know, Derek Carr had the murder rate down. It was looking like the Saints are finna do something, right? And that was the game he got hurt. That was the game Eric McCoy got hurt. Carted off. Jalen Carter just goes ham the whole second half. Yep. Basically, the Eagles' D-line was all you can eat buffet. You had the guards running into each other. Nobody can do anything. And the win from the Saints sales went away. And we know how the rest of that season played out. So when you have a guy like that where in a game where he's missed like that and you just fall apart, that just shows his importance. And if the Saints want to have, again, a successful season with all these expectations, you need your captain in the middle of your line, the veteran presence in the middle of your line. You're going to need him there. You have a lot of young guys.
And I'm looking at McCoy's Pro Football Reference page, not Focus Reference, where it gives you his statistics. And I'm looking back. He was a durable player early in his career. As a rookie, 16 games, every game. As a second-year player in 2020, 16 games. And then you just started to see some injuries crop up. 12 games in 21, 13 games in 22. Then he played 17 games in 2023 as a 26-year-old and made the Pro Bowl. And then the last 2 years, 7-7. So he's played now 8 years in the NFL. And to this point, 7 years in the NFL. To this point, 3 of them have been unmarred by injury, and one of them was he only missed 3 games. But the last 2 years have been a significant problem. And this is not something like there's a part of me when I prepped this segment and started thinking about the impact he has and thinking about the angle to talk about it with. There's part of me that goes, you're not analyzing anything if you're just suggesting, hey, the center needs to stay healthy. But the fact of the matter is that, like, they can handle injuries at some places. There are some places on the roster where if you had an injury, it just wouldn't derail everything. Like, if Devon Vele got hurt, I don't know that you'd have to cancel the offense. I don't know that losing Juwan Johnson would just be some death blow to the offense. I'd rather have both of them than not have them. But center's not one of these places. You can't handle injury at center again this year. I will, as I said at the top, I will grant him 2 or 3 games where he's hurt. Hopefully you can stay afloat. Well, the famous Buddy D line from down there in New Orleans, when teams don't have their starting center, they never cover. It's a big deal. McCoy's, maybe the point is not to say he doesn't need to get hurt. Maybe the point is to say that Eric McCoy's presence on this team in the middle of that offensive line is vital to their achieving whatever the ceiling is on this team. I would suggest the ceiling on this team is probably hosting a playoff game and winning it. That's probably the ceiling that I would put on this team. You can choose to do with that whatever you will. But for the Saints to reach that ceiling, to be a 9 or 10 win team that does that, he needs to play. And that's the importance. He needs to play well. He's right there at the back end of his prime at 29 years old in the middle of the offensive line. He's not running wind sprints. He'd have to be the quickest guy in the league. He needs to be on time, be technically sound, and be upright. And right now, he is. Let's hope that continues into training camp because, yeah, a grade of 9 on Pro Football Focus for Torricelli Simpkins, that's not what we're looking for in week 4, okay? We're looking for Eric McCoy to be in the middle, playing at the Pro Bowl level that he played at 2 years ago and 3 years ago. We'll see. That's our look at the New Orleans Saints. If you want Saints content, you can find it. Search Hunt on Saints. That's my Saints channel. All of our Saints coverage all year round is right there. You can search it on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. We appreciate y'all. Saints are close to reporting, y'all. It's just a couple of weeks away. We're going to go through this week, and then we'll have SEC Media Days, and the Saints will be on the practice field as we're in Tampa. So very, very excited to get into football season in earnest. We've got the Major League Baseball draft behind us. Now it's time to really embrace football. There's not a lot going on outside of that. So excited to get into that and some more Saints talk as we move forward into the back end of the summer. Come back. Got 30 minutes left to go. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com. Lifetimeroofingla.com is that website. Look, they do roofs, obviously. It's in the name, Lifetime Roofing. You can find them at lifetimeroofingla.com. That's not all they do. They do a lot of other work on the exterior of your home. Need gutters? Lifetime Roofing does gutters. You need siding? Lifetime Roofing does siding. You need windows? Lifetime Roofing does windows. You can knock it all out at once. You want to roll all that into one buy, finance it all together? You can do it at Lifetime Roofing. It is storm season. If you need a fortification, you need a tune-up for your roof to make sure you're ready for those storms that could blow through here later this summer, Lifetime Roofing is happy to do that. Have them do an inspection. They'll tell you what the best course of action will be. They're online at lifetimeroofingla.com. That's lifetimeroofingla.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding health care forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Hanging out here on a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Appreciate y'all being with us. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Had a great chat with Cooper Sides, LSU baseball signee who was not drafted over the weekend. He will be an LSU Tiger. He chatted with us at 2 o'clock. You can already catch that on demand. It's up on the 104.5 ESPN Twitter page. Just went up, I saw. So you can check that out if you want to hear what the young man had to say. Impressive stuff, and he's really excited to get down to Baton Rouge and start his career. I do want to spend some time. We've talked about the high school signees for about an hour today. And so I want to move on to the former Tigers now that were taken over the weekend. What an incredible bet on himself by Derek Curiel, and then the result. I wrote this in my piece at LouisianaSports.net. It's so rare that a plan actually works out the way that you envisioned it in your head. And Derek Curiel came on this show as a guest when he pulled his name out of the draft a couple of years ago. He said, I still remember talking to him. He said, I haven't gotten my man body yet. Like, I'm skinny, and I just feel like I have some development to do. And so he pulled out. He would have been a top 60 pick in that draft. I don't know what his number would have been, but like, if you were just going off baseball players, he'd have been a top 60 pick in that draft. He may have been a top 30 pick in that draft. He's been a famous prospect for a long time because of his bat-to-ball skills. But he looked at that and said, no, I'm going to go to LSU, and I'm going to play college baseball. I'm going to develop, and I'm going to be a first-round pick. And my wife can attest to this. I had the Derek Curiel story written before the draft even started, and then I was just going to fill in where he was picked and add a little color with the organization, right? When he went 5th, and I was watching the draft, and they went, with the 5th pick, the Pirates select Derek Curiel, I was on my couch, and I go, whoa, I didn't have him 5th. I was thinking somewhere around 12. Because 5th, that's Von Lackey territory. He went 3rd with prodigious power. 5th, for a guy that doesn't hit with a lot of power, was stunning to me. But it's an incredible story. The slot value on the 5th pick is $8.34 million for Derek Curiel. And you would imagine he will get right at that. And so for him, that's a perfect illustration of a story. Pull out of the draft, go to college, develop, oh, by the way, win a national championship, and come out on the other side as a first-round pick. Reminds me of some other guys that followed that trajectory. Dylan Cruz followed that trajectory. Kevin Gausman followed that trajectory. Doesn't work out for everybody. I heard Cam Johnson's name go almost in the 20th round yesterday. I think it was like the 18th or 19th round. He was a guy that we thought was a potential second-round pick, and he just never really found it in 3 years of college. But Derek Curiel certainly did, and that's an amazing story. I'm a little bummed out, y'all. A little bummed out. And we got Paul Skeens with the Pirates, and we got Derek Curiel with the Pirates. That's my division. These are Tiger champions. I'm a big fan, but I can't have him beating the Cubs. So if Derek gets up there pretty quickly and plays with Skeens, that's a great story, but not against my red and blue. But awesome stuff for Derek Curiel to go there, and we didn't have to wait too long to hear Jake Brown's name as well. I'm not sure where Jake Brown would have gone had he not broken his hand, but in any event, he goes number 64 overall in the second round. Seattle takes him. $1.38 million is the slot. And how about this? Speaking of stories, 3 years ago, the top 2 players, left-handed pitchers in the state of Louisiana were Cade Anderson and Jake Brown. And Cade Anderson and Jake Brown, 2 and 3 years later, go to the same organization for $10 million total. Just incredible stuff. 2 Louisiana kids go to LSU, win a national championship. Bam, both millionaires for the same organization. Great stuff for Jake, who always carried himself so professionally with such a great way about him. We got to talk to Jake a lot early this season after games because he kept hitting homers and they kept sending him out for interviews. He's got a great personality. He's always smiling and laughing. He loves playing for LSU, and that is a kid. And like I say this, I mean it so sincerely, who could have thrown a fit last year. He is a second-round pick, by definition, a $1 million talent in the Major League draft, and he essentially sat behind Josh Pearson every time a team threw a left-hander. Josh Pearson, I don't even think he's playing baseball anymore. He is a $1 million talent, and he did not complain. He gave Josh Pearson a standing ovation in that super regional at bat that Pearson took. Like, it takes a special guy to be like that on a championship team. Because when you're a guy that can sign for $1.3 million like Jake Brown just did, you need at-bats because every at-bat could be dollar signs. Because a guy that can sign for 1.3, like 3.3 is out there. And you're not going to get 3.3 with Josh Pearson in the box and you in the dugout. And Jake just didn't complain about it. He just wanted to be part of the team. And guess what? In the College World Series, he did not start the Arkansas game against Zach Root. Game 1, Omaha. LSU, Arkansas. In the College World Series. Josh Pearson's in the lineup. But later in the game, it's time to pinch hit. And Jay Johnson goes to Jake Brown, who's not pouting because Josh Pearson's in the lineup against Zach Root. He grabs a bat, hits for Stanfield, and pumps a 2-run single into left center field off one of the best relievers in the country. That is an incredible story about a dude who did things the right way. And he earned every cent that he'll get from Seattle, and hopefully that's a guy that can make the show with Cade Anderson. I don't have a problem pulling for those two guys in the same team. Pirates, that's my division. But that wasn't it for LSU. Devin Sheeran taken off the board, number 128 to Philadelphia. His slot is just a hair under 600,000. I think Sheeran will get a chance to start immediately. I think he settles into a bullpen role because of his delivery. But that's a guy who's got the ability to make the big leagues. I think Devin Sheeran will pitch in the majors. I think he's got the ability to do that. The fastball's got a lot of spin to it and tumbles. And then he's got what I think can be a better slider than the one he threw this year. And if he can keep that velocity where it is, that max effort delivery and that, that everything coming at the hitter, I think he can be a major league reliever. Grant Fontenot, I think he's got a chance to make a big league team. He goes to Kansas City, $299 overall. That slot value just under $200,000. Now Grant Fontenot went through a lot. He went to 3 different schools, dropped down a level, tried LSU twice, pitched at Texas, kept it moving, and by the end of the season, was LSU's second best reliever. And it's great that he gets an opportunity to do that. We told you last week if you thought Santiago Garcia would be drafted and signed, have every anticipation he will do that. Garcia goes 372nd overall. There are no slots at that point, so it's just whatever teams are willing to pay you. The baseline is generally $150,000, but you can certainly go below that. Anything you go over $150,000, you got to take out of your bonus pool at that point. So Garcia goes 372 to Toronto. Connor Benj drafted 385 to Miami. I know a lot of people kind of raise their eyebrow. Y'all realize that Connor Benj does throw 96 miles an hour and spins the ball pretty well with the slider. I'm not betting on Connor Benj being a big league pitcher, but he is a draftable prospect and certainly was at 385. Gavin Guidry was really looking to start his professional career. The Mets gave him a phone call with the 480th selection, so he will start his career with the New York Mets. Gavin's he went up there to Cape Cod and struck some guys out. It wasn't always the prettiest up on Cape Cod, but he struck some guys out and did get enough eyeballs, so he will be a member of the Mets organization. He'll move on, and Zach Cowan will move on as well. He was obviously a senior. The Cleveland Guardians selected him 573 overall to finish out the LSU rosters. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys selected off LSU's roster that will start their professional careers. People have asked me, especially as it looked like LSU was going to hold on to like the lion's share of this class until a couple guys got picked off there, and then we don't think that Mitchell's going to make it to LSU. How is LSU with numbers? I'm not going to get into exact numbers, but just know this, because I don't know them exactly, because there are some DSAs, some designated student athletes, and we don't know who those are. But LSU is not going to have to cut anybody. You look at where they are from a roster numbers perspective. They've got DSAs on their team. That's a designated student athlete. When they changed the rules to how many scholarship athletes you could have, if there was a player in your program that was going to have to be cut, you could designate them as a student athlete and grandfather them in basically for a short period of time. That's what LSU is going to be able to do. Enough guys got picked off this signing class. You look at it. Logan Schmidt's gone. Jensen Hirschhorn's gone. Wesley Roberson's gone. Spencer Evans is gone. Dylan Blomker's gone. Will Adams is gone. And I think Anthony Murphy is going to move on as well. Then you've got those guys that I mentioned with Guidry being picked, with Garcia being picked, with Sheeran being picked. Those guys will move on. So you're going to free up enough with the DSRs to have enough room on that roster. LSU will have more than the 34, and they'll have room for that. So I don't anticipate some sort of massive cut sweep coming. It looked at one point like Evans and Adams were going to show up, and then they got picked later. So it looked like your numbers were going to be tight. I don't see that as a problem at this point. If there do need to be some actions taken, that'll probably be something that happens in the next 2 weeks or Christmas. So again, I don't think there's going to be an issue, but if there is, that'll happen in the next 2 weeks. Somebody will have a chance to go somewhere else, whether it's JUCO or be released from their letter of intent, or Christmas where you find a new home there. So great day, great weekend for LSU baseball on multiple levels, with the high-end guys getting paid, and with the signing class really remaining intact. If you missed my comments on the signing class, top of the show, 30 minutes. I gave it to you for 2 segments, so you can check that out on demand. Just search Hunt Palmer Show, and you can catch the first 30 minutes of the show, all LSU signing class related. We'll step aside, close out the show. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. Check out the website. So user-friendly, so easy to navigate. The entire inventory is online at FabryChevrolet.com. It's the way you can search to narrow things down. We live in a click society, right? Well, go, if you're looking for a new car, search by new cars. If you're just looking for pre-owned vehicles, search by pre-owned. Maybe there's a make and model that you're set on. You want to see what they've got in store with those. They've got them. Maybe you're looking at mileage on a pre-owned car. Maybe you're looking at pricing. You can set that as well. And every single car that meets your criteria on the site is just served up right to you. You can check it out, then go up to Highway 61 in St. Francisville, take a test drive, and experience that wonderful customer service that you get from Fabry Chevrolet GMC every single time. Again, that website's FabryChevrolet.com. They're on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. FabryChevrolet.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Guarantee Health Solutions, they're guiding healthcare forward. You can find them online at GuaranteeHealth.com. That's GuaranteeHealth.com. If you're in the healthcare space, how much do you think about your digital footprint? How much do you think about your website? How much do you think about digital advertising? How much do you think about traditional advertising? Your brand awareness? These are not things that are top of mind because you're busy handling your medical practice. Well, Guarantee Health Solutions is here to do that. That's what Rachel Fricke and her team can do. It's one of the many things they can do. They can also help train your staff to better make your efficiency increase over at your healthcare practice, whether you're a hospital, whether you're a dental practice, urgent care, private practice, no matter what. The folks at Guarantee Health Solutions can help you digitally to improve your brand, to improve how many clicks to care. It's all there at Guarantee Health Solutions. They're online at GuaranteeHealth.com. That's GuaranteeHealth.com. They bring you our Monday shows each and every week. All right, I guess take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, Hunt. Well, LeBron is going to Ohio. Well,
it's going to be a Justin LeBron Indians thing, a Guardians thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Justin LeBron, the shortstop who played at the University of Alabama, who was drafted 18th by the Cincinnati Reds in the 2026 MLB draft. So is this a little foreshadowing to the real LeBron going back to the Cavs? Take it or leave it?
I'll take it probably. I was texting my buddy who loves the Reds. I said, you just took a guy that hit 220 in SEC play with like 27 strikeouts and 8 walks. He's like, oh, great. I'm sure the metal bat was holding him back was the line I got from my buddy. LeBron did not have a great year. This is a guy who, after his freshman season 2 years ago, people were legitimately thinking might be the number 1 pick in this past draft. He just did not play well this year. He's a freak athlete. He's got huge talent, big tools. He can play defense, but he just struck out too much, didn't hit for a high average. They got to Omaha, which was pretty impressive, but he did not have the year he wanted. Let's see what the slot was for Justin LeBron here, because the slot at the top is north of $10 million at about $11 million. And Justin LeBron's slot was at 4.7. So still a nice payday, but not quite what we thought it might be.
All right, so Baltimore Ravens star quarterback Lamar Jackson experienced quite the fall in the annual NFL's Network's Top 100 Players list. The veteran quarterback came in at number 2 in 2025 and tumbled all the way down to 69 heading into the 2026 season. So is Lamar Jackson the 69th best player in the NFL? Take it or leave it.
I'll leave that real quick. I've watched a lot of Bengals Ravens in my my last 5 years of action.
Yes.
And he is nowhere near the 69th player. He is way better than that. He is a nightmare to deal with. And the thing is that, like, when you watch him, I don't think his age right now is going to be a big problem, because he doesn't necessarily use his speed to, like, run away from cornerbacks.
Got like RG3 back.
He just kind of moves where he needs to move and then beats you throwing the ball. Like, he's just an awesome player. He's really frustrating to play against whenever I'm pulling for the Bengals. And he's not trying to win with his legs in a foot race. He's trying to use his legs to better produce throws with his arm. He's really good, and he's 69 is ridiculous.
Okay, because even though Lamar Jackson had, a little bit of a down year last year because of injuries, but we can all agree that 69 for Lamar Jackson is absolutely ludicrous. Ridiculous. And one thing that you brought up a good point about him running and moving around, that Jimmy also brought this to my attention. Lamar Jackson doesn't take a lot of big hits. Like, to say he runs around a lot, you don't really see him get hit. He does a very good job at getting out of bounds and taking care of himself. It's just, I don't know, man. 69, I saw that. Like, oh, no, we got to talk about that for this one. So Tom Brady came up with a unique analogy for why wide receivers tend to be more animated and outspoken about their roles in NFL offenses. So he appeared on the New Heights podcast with Travis Swift and Jason Kelsey. Brady said this about receiver drama: "I swear to God, it's deja vu. I've been seeing the same bleep since 2000 when I came into the league. It's like the Real Housewives of the NFL." So is Brady right? The NFL is a never-ending soap opera. Take it or leave it.
Take that, for sure.
I'll take it.
Yeah, wide receiver is interesting because, like, the shortstop always gets to hit. He just gets to hit when his time's up. They give the ball to running backs. The quarterback gets the ball in every play. There's no basketball team that's got a dude that gets 25 points a night that just can't get his hands on the ball.
Facts.
But sometimes wide receivers, like, don't get the ball. Like, they can't really control that. So that's what triggers the massive amount of reactions. It's the most dynamic position we have in American sports that oftentimes gets neglected because you have to get them the ball. So it's it's a combination of the personalities in the position that's a ticking time bomb. But yes, the NFL is a soap opera. That's a fact.
So when you think about it, is there like a certain personality type for these great wide receivers? Because a lot of the great wide receivers, you see the same type of issues going on with.
Is there a type that I would prefer?
I mean, I guess like a Larry Fitzgerald. Yeah, I'm about to say Larry
Fitzgerald.
Calvin Johnson, one of those guys.
Yeah, he's quiet.
This is quiet and doesn't. But it's like the odds you get one of those guys, you're gonna get one of these fiery personalities. You're gonna get a Malik Neighbors. You're gonna get a Antonio Brown. You're gonna get one of those guys.
No, you will not get an Antonio. You can get a Malik Neighbors. You will not get an Antonio Brown. That's a one of one. That's a unique situation. Nobody.
He's a case study. He's his own case study.
That dude ripped his jersey off and just left.
Pieces, deuces.
That dude. What happened to him?
I mean,
there's a video of him having a conversation in the locker room before the CTE like destroyed, and he was like a normal guy, and then all of a sudden,
I know you're talking about the interview.
Yeah, something happened, and like something flipped in his head, and it was just over.
Oh, we know what it was. The hit against the Bengals when he got hit in that playoff game.
My
the Bengals,
word,
the Jeremy
that guy's
Hill
off
game.
his rocker. Yeah,
Jeremy
off
Hill
his rocker.
So that's it for Take It or Leave It.
All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It. I have got a lot of content on LouisianaSports.net right now. We had our draft tracker up. Appreciate you all for following along. I wrote a draft review last night that you can go check out for free at LouisianaSports.net. This morning, I wrote 3 things for the roster moving forward in 2027. And then today, I wrote a column on how I think that NIL has kind of changed things. Joe Doyle, who we had on last week from Overslot, rough numbers, 72 less high schoolers went this year than normal. That's more than 10% of the draft. And so it's amazing that NIL, revenue sharing, and the ability to just develop in college has pushed kids to the college game and away from the minor league ranks. And it was very obvious, and LSU really capitalized on that. So if you want to read any of those about the change in the draft, LSU's team moving forward, or just my reaction to the draft as a whole, it's all there for free at LouisianaSports.net. You can find it on the homepage right now, but you can also Click on teams, LSU and LSU baseball, and you can find all of that there. You can listen to what I had to say about LSU's draft class in the first 30 minutes of the show today. We also had Cooper Sides, big right-hander, on at 2 o'clock. Appreciate him for making some time with us. We also talked some Saints, Eric McCoy at center. How important is that? I told you. You can find that on demand at Hunt on Saints. Appreciate Guarantee Health Solutions for jumping aboard, being part of our Monday shows. That's it for us. Guess what? Matt's back. Off for a couple of weeks. He's back to drive you home next. We're back tomorrow. Same time, same place for a Tuesday edition.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First, let me tell you about the Highland Insurance Group. They're online at HighlandIG.com. That is HighlandIG.com. And Jonathan Carbo is awesome at what he does. I was talking to him last week, and there's just a lot of businesses in the state of Louisiana that are feeling the pain of benefits. They're feeling the pain of paying for that health insurance for their employees. You want to make sure your employees and their families are taken care of from a perspective of their health care, their dental, their vision, all that. But it's just hard to pay for. I can't promise you the Highland Insurance Group is a silver bullet that's just going to knock 20% off your costs. What I can promise you is that Jonathan Carbo and his team will sit down and talk to you, and that they are capable of offering a second solution. They know that rates are increasing. They're an independent broker. They've got contracts with multiple carriers. They can look to make sure that you're getting a second option to see if what you're paying is the right market value. If not, you can switch. That's what they promise to you at the Highland Insurance Group. You can find them online at HighlandIG.com. It's the Highland Insurance Group. They're online at HighlandIG.com.